The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Wyoming.
Benjamin Franklin said over 270 years ago, freedom of speech is a principal pillar of a free government. When this support is taken away, the constitution of a free society is dissolved and tyranny is erected on its ruins. An evil magistrate entrusted with power to punish for words would be armed with a weapon the most destructive and terrible. Under pretense of pruning off the exuberant branches, he would be apt to destroy the tree. Mr. Farage talked in his opening statement that noted that Europe's regulatory regime risks exporting restrictive standards that could violate Americans' constitutional rights. So I'd like to expose that and discuss that a little bit further. He noted that the oh-so-benignly titled Online Safety Act exemplified this regulatory model. The OSA is marketed as a measure to protect children online, but it is clearly being used as a means to actually impose government-backed censorship, especially speech which is critical of government policy. As an egregious example, we have learned that the OSA has been used against Katie Lamb, MP for Weald of Kent, to block videos of her speeches made in Parliament critical of the fallout from the country's immigration policies. Mr. Price, are you familiar with the circumstance where actual speeches in Parliament or other public figures, their speeches are being censored by the government under this claim of protecting minors or protecting people from hearing this speech?
I'm familiar with censorship of public protests that's already happened in the United Kingdom. The Online Safety Act has placed blocks on those to protect children. That's the claim, but it has prevented adults from accessing it as well.
So the Times has also reported that using the Communications Act of 2003 and the Malicious Communications Act of 1988, there have been 37 police forces have made over 12,000 arrests in 2023 alone, which is the equivalent of 33 a day, all in relation to social media posts. Are you familiar with that information, Mr. Price?
I am, yes.
Okay. In July, the House of Commons Science, Innovation, and Technology Committee released a report indicating that the OSA was merely a first step, is the way that they have described this. In other words, they are planning to do even more to address what they describe as online harm. Have you heard that as well?
I have, yes.
Well, and I think that there's something that just happened this week, and a few of the members have referenced it, but it involved the Irish comedian and writer Graham Linehan, who was arrested in Britain, apparently for social media posts about transgender issues. Did you hear of this circumstance?
Yes, I did. I know Graham personally.
Okay, and according to his Substack article, the trouble actually began when he was in America. He was at the airport in Arizona seeking to fly back to Europe. Was told that he did not have a seat, was put on a later flight, and when he arrived at Heathrow, he was met by 5 armed police officers. Are police officers in England typically armed?
They're not, no.
So did you find it strange that he would be met by 5 armed police officers?
At airports, counterterrorism police are usually armed, and or there's a special wing of the Metropolitan Police that has armed support unit.
So is he considered a terrorist?
I'm not clear what provision he was arrested under of legislation, but there is a power in the Terrorism Act to arrest people at airports and seize their devices.
Sure. Was he identified as a terrorist because of his online posts?
It's not clear yet if he was arrested under that provision, but it has very wide-ranging powers, and it is used on occasion to detain people at ports.
Okay, I understand that, and that probably is more of a frightening answer than I expected, which is that they've used the power that is typically reserved for terrorists or people who are of grave risk to the country to arrest Mr. Linehan at the airport because of his Twitter posts. Is that right?
It's not clear if they use it yet, but that is a power that they frequently, that is used to seize people's devices at airports.
Can you describe more of what happened with this incident involving Mr. Linehan? Do you have the familiarity with the facts?
I've read his statement, yes.
Okay, and could you please explain what happened?
It appears that he was detained on arrival in Heathrow and then arrested, searched, subjected to a long series of questions, most of which revolved around his beliefs on gender ideology and transgender issues. Some of the questions from the police, according to Mr. Linehan, were extremely ideological in nature, and they talked about people who are assigned a gender at birth, which, as he pointed out himself, is activist language that the police should not be using.
So he also claims that his bail conditions was, one of the conditions was that he could no longer use X. Is this a tactic you have seen or heard of being used before?
Yes, we've seen extraordinary bail conditions, even placed on clients of our own. We had a client, Pastor Dia Moodley, who was given a bail condition that he was not allowed to preach about the differences between Christianity and Islam on the basis of that he would be bailed. So we have seen bizarre and wide-ranging bail conditions set on people before under speech offences.
Time's expired.
Okay, thank you.